Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, I'm still processing the events of Master Universe Revolution. One of the things that was most sort of baffling was the Skeletor backflip. Now, if you watched the first season, you knew that they produced an official comic which actually went through the history of Skeletor, the origins of Skeletor, and it was ridiculous. Now, from the mini comics, as kids who grew up, the understanding basically was that Skeletor was some sort of demon from another planet. Then later on, they made him more of a Shakespearean character, where he was actually the bastard son of King Randor's father. So he was Prince Adam's uncle, and part of the reason why he was so hell-bent on ruling Eternia was because he had felt it had been robbed from him. And it gave Skeletor an actual reason to exist and, you know, to be Skeletor instead of just this random, you know, generic villain bad guy. They gave him... It was a good play. I didn't hear about it until sort of late in the games as far as being a He-Man fan, because I didn't see every episode of the 2002 series when it was on TV, and I realized, you know, that they had given him this really interesting backstory, and it really did give some depth and really improved the series. And then they did the Revelation series, and they did this backflip where they did this comic where they went through, you know, Skeletor's origin, and basically he just is a guy who comes from a planet, and the whole planet is full of blue people with skeleton faces just like him. And he had like a wife with a skeleton face and a baby with a skeleton face, and it was just ridiculous. I'm like, why would they do this? And then they just ignored it and just went with the Keldor plot and didn't treat it very intelligently. Basically, Keldor just shows up in like a town hall and is like, yep, I'm your uncle, but I don't want the throne. And then, of course, manipulates himself into getting the throne, and He-Man just hands it to him without any sort of vetting or anything. And of course, you know, it's not even, well, it is Keldor, but it's Skeletor pretending to be Keldor, you know, who I guess no one knew became Skeletor, you know, on the palace side of things. But yeah, so great character, you know, gave him some depth, made him more interesting. But why the backflip? Why did they change it? And then why go for it? Just the mess that this show is, where they just went in so many directions that didn't work, and they pulled it all back and flipped it around, and we're supposed to enjoy the show and keep up with the backflips and inconsistencies, and it's just a mess. I'm like, it's just such a missed opportunity. They could have gone with the Keldor plot in the first place, and, you know, they didn't have to waste the whole first series and waste a whole comic. I mean, these things cost money. You know, it's hard. You know, we don't have a lot of really extended universe, Master Universe stuff. There's some, but wasting a whole comic, a whole Origins comic on a backstory that they didn't even use, that was supposed to replace what already existed, that was superior, but then they didn't even use it, and then it just shows a lack of planning. Just it's just a mess. I'm trying to be nice to the show and give it some credit, but there's so many things that undermine the few good things that they did. Like, you know, the fact that they did reinstate Keldor, and that they have also brought up She-Ra, because apparently She-Ra, Adora, you know, still in her horde sort of brainwashed sort of army sort of mode, is the character we see at the end who promises to restore Hordak, which I didn't get, because, you know, I didn't get that because I'm not that entrenched in the lore and the extended universe and the DC comics and all that. But yeah, they're dealing with that side of things, which of course was all dealt with in the original animated series, which goes to show more and more this is just a different universe and not the Filmation universe that they don't have the rights to. So it's just a mess, and it's just kind of insulting to fans, and it just makes it harder to enjoy. And it'd just be nice if they just planned from the start to do the series properly, and we could just really, you know, invest in it. because you can't invest in a show like this when it changes every half season, because the people don't know what they're doing and they're just backpedaling and trying to respond to fan complaints and try and fix things, and it's just so yeah. I'm listening to some positive reviews and trying to give it some credit and trying to work where it does work, but for the most part it was a missed opportunity, and I'm going to leave that there.